All right, so here's the deal. What I'd like you to do, my friends, is change your chat at the bottom to say everyone instead of hosts and panelists. And thank you for making fun of my imitation. We're going to share a link with you if you didn't see it yet, and you can see why I was making fun of myself and the way I look. So let me introduce my colleague. Liz Szporn is in the room. And
Hello.
hey, Liz, how are you?
Oh, I'm super, Michael. How are you?
Yeah, apparently you're very well because we were having some chitter chatter before.
Didn't realize there were other people.
That's hilarious. There is at least one person that I see on there, Phil Bonelli, and he already knows. He's also as hilarious as we are. So sorry, Phil,
awesome.
you got to see it again.
And Jess is here too. Jess, thanks for being our facilitator. Let me tell you, we're going to talk about CFO, being a fractional CFO specifically, and some of the insights we can share with you. Liz is going to detail that out. And we're going to show you how Profit First may be of service to you. And you probably heard, if you came on early, we have 160 folks signed up for this. So we're excited that you're here. We want this to be a great learning experience. We will share details on how you can look into Profit First professionals further and see if it's a fit for you and your organization. So by means of introducing myself, actually, one more thing before I do that. I just want to make sure for all the folks that are joining right now that you can, for reals, hear me. In the chat, change to everyone. Just tell us where you're checking in from. That's always a fun thing to know. And that will be a way we can affirm that you can hear me. So I see Ohio, Winter Garden, Florida, which with the temperatures up here, Liz, I wish I was in Winter Garden today.
Oof, no.
Gainesville, Boca Raton, Florida. Yeah, just think at Lakeland, Florida. A lot of folks from Florida, you've been in our thoughts for the last couple of weeks with the challenge you guys have been facing. Actually, the entire South. Gainesville, Georgia's in the house. Colorado Springs, Winnipeg, Canada. A little bit colder up in Winnipeg today than it is here.
They win.
They win. They win the cold contest, Crossroads, and so forth. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for checking in. One last thing I want to share with you is our goal is to be concise and impactful. So I invite you to turn off the distractions. It's so easy to say, I'm going to listen in the background and then miss stuff. But we want this to be transformative for you. So just take a break from the email and so forth, and we'll deliver some hopefully very good content to you. So by means of introduction now, my name is Mike Michalowicz. I am the co-founder of Profit First Professionals. I'm the author of Profit First, there it is, and other business books. What was interesting, as I was writing Profit First, which just had its 10-year anniversary, we just celebrated with ProfitCon, where we were talking about all the impact Profit First has had. The number one service desired, if you will, after someone reads Profit First is someone who can help them implement Profit First and sustain the business, move the business forward once it's sustained to make good, prudent decisions going forward, what a fractional CFO does. So a Profit First professional is someone who gets the business healthy in its current state, sustainably profitable, and then works on moving the business forward to furthering its trajectory. And that's what we want to talk about today, the need for fractional CFOs and how you can serve that role. One thing that's also interesting about Profit First is it is a cash management system. It's not an accounting system, and that's often confused. People hear about this and say, oh, you're saying that accounting doesn't work, or it's not an accounting, that accounting is not needed. None of that. This is a cash management system that puts the tools in place for the entrepreneur to work with their natural behavior to drive consistent profitability and make prudent cash decisions. All the accounting that sits on top of that, Profit First may be the foundation, but all the accounting that sits on top of that is necessary and is needed for you to navigate. One last thing I want to share before we go into the nitty-gritty details is it's kind of like I found a gym. You can get a lot of different magazines and books on proper exercises and ways to transform yourself in any way you want. Question is, you know you want it, you know you need it, do you actually do it? And that's why there's so many trainers. This is someone at the gym that tells you how to do the exercises properly, who makes sure you won't injure yourself. It also holds you accountable. And they guide you toward that ultimate vision and goals you have. Well, that's what a Profit First professional does. That's what a fractional CFO does. Even with this book in circulation, we have about 1.2 million copies, different languages, different versions of Profit First throughout the globe, plus all of our derivative versions is probably 1.3 million now. All that means that people have the recipe, but doesn't mean they're cooking it up right. And that's why they're hiring trainers. And maybe it's an opportunity for you to do that. Okay. I just wanted to lay a little of the groundwork. I want to get into the nitty gritty now. I'm introducing my colleague, Liz Szporn. She is a guide with our organization, an extraordinary guide, knows Profit First inside and out herself, but helps organizations go through this transformation of someone who just does, I'm doing air quotes around this, bookkeeping or accounting or coaching, and transition to Profit First professional expert and a fractional CFO. So Liz, I thought, and we talked about this prior, but if you could take the lead and just share the process.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Mike, for the introduction. I'm really excited about the opportunity that you have and the time that you've taken to spend with us today. You know, we have at Profit First Professionals, we have the opportunity to work with accountants and bookkeepers and financial coaches in a way that leverages what they're already doing, leverages the conversations that they're having that many of them are giving away for free. And many of them are saying, I know I can be of more impact and of more service to my businesses or my client's business, and I want to help. And so that's where we come in. As Mike said, you know, we at Profit First Professionals, we're focusing on Profit First, and we're focusing on the amazing success and the simplicity that that book has shared. Mike has, aside from being really funny and loving to travel, he has created something that so many people fall in love with. This idea of, I want to tell my money what to do, and I need to pay myself first. And I got into this business not to avoid taxes, not to work my butt off and not pay myself, not to have the world's most expensive hobby. I got into this to have more time, to pay myself, to be able to live the dream that I wanted. Unfortunately, many of us as business owners know that that doesn't happen automatically, and it is a little bit more daunting than we thought. And so what we want to do, and what we've been doing for 10 years at Profit First Professionals, is to help accountants and bookkeepers spread the word of this financial concept, this cash management system, to their clients. The end users want to be able to take their own money home. They want to be able to pay themselves and to live the life that they hope they would. So we know that, you know, when we're thinking of Profit First, and many of you may have already heard this, there are a couple things that you'll hear. Profit First doesn't work, or Profit First is awesome. Now, we hear both of those pretty much every day. Like, Mike, if you had $1 for every time you heard Profit First doesn't work, how many dollars would you have? A lot of dollars. You would have a lot of dollars. Now, what we see is people do it wrong, is the problem. What happens, and we see this all the time, we as humans do this for pretty much everything. We go in, we get this great idea, and we're like, we're all in. And in fact, they go all in and go straight to those target allocating percentages. So they go too fast, too big, too fast, and that will break their business, right? If you're not paying yourself, how are you going to go to 50% owner's pay in one day? You cannot. So what happens is we see that people go and make the behavior changes that are far too large. And they think they read the book, they think they understand it. And the book, I have to tell you, is just the tip of the iceberg. So many people are excited and eager, and they go too big, too fast. What happens also is people do this service or this system correctly. And even there, they're still not doing it maybe as efficiently or as effectively as possible, or they get stuck. And so these new ideas that we have this really good behavior for, they sort of wear themselves into a rut, and they are stuck, and they don't see how to scale. That's where our accountants and bookkeepers and financial coaches come in. You have the ability, with joining Profit First Professionals, to go below the waterline, to really understand the art and the science that go behind this framework. And so we want to be able to help you understand and utilize the principles of Profit First to engage and really help impact your clients even more. So what we do know, like we said, the two big things, people do it correctly or they do it incorrectly, is then they ask you for help. You are the trusted financial advisor for the vast majority of entrepreneurs. They look at you as their bookkeeper, as your accounting professional, and say, I need help. Do you have help? And oftentimes you give away too much. We all do this. We're nice. We want to be of service, and we give our stuff away for free. And so what we want to do is help you understand how to serve your clients and serve yourselves at the same time. So we have the idea of leveraging licensing our system at Profit First, or doing it yourself. And I just told you how you can do it yourself. Many people go read the book and they go off to the races. You could do that, but you're also going to spend a lot of time. You're going to spend a lot of time figuring out a system. You're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure this out by yourself. You're going to look at the book, which is the tip of the iceberg and a great book, but you're going to say, how do I charge for this? How do I implement this? Do I want to do one-on-one? Do I want to do groups? Do I want to do a portal? So you could do it yourself. We know this. And when we started, many people were doing it themselves. What we want to do, though, and what we've created is an opportunity for you to go with us. We offer one-on-one guiding, resources out the wazoo, if you will. That is the official title. And then we also offer an amazing community of people who are just like you, who are creative, proactive, and want to be of service to their clients. So being able to help you understand why licensing makes sense is that in addition to the three things that I shared, the resources, the guiding, and the community, Mike is out there. As I said, he lives on a plane. He loves to travel. He is out there sharing Profit First to just about anybody who will listen to it. He literally just flew home last night from Nashville. I don't know what you were doing there, but I'm sure you were talking at least Profit First a little bit.
I was speaking on Profit First.
I knew it. You always are. And so, this halo of the world's most popular, most successful profit brand is what you get to leverage. He's out there talking about the book, implementing and sharing to thousands of people every year about why this system makes better sense for entrepreneurs, which makes you look better. We have, as he said, 1.2 or 1.3 million books sold. There are 19 book derivatives that are written by our members. Profit First for microgyms, for contractors, for therapists, for chiropractors, for optometrists, for construction, for retail. What that means is that whatever your niche is, or even if you're niche curious, there is a book that was created by a peer in the Profit First community who said, I know that there's some nuance if you are an e-business retailer versus an online store retailer. And here's the difference. Here's the book. Here's the platform. Here's the framework. They want to make this easier for you and for your clients. So that's one of the reasons. Those are some of the reasons to join. But what we're really here to talk about today is the fractional CFO services that are baked into what seems to be this simple little cash management system. So I want to share something that we have within this system, this fractional CFO system. We have created so many resources that are available to members from day one that you can use as they are or as inspiration. So I'm going to share my screen with you all just to show we've created what we call the CFO playbook. And this is a document that lives within our university. And what it is it's sharing all the basic concepts that and different resources that we have to show you how they line up with CFO services. Now, people will say, I'm not a CFO, I'm not a fractional CFO, I don't even want to do that. But what we're saying is that these services that live in a profit strategy and profit consultancy, they are CFO services. You are analyzing the data. You are not just giving reports and looking backward. You are analyzing profitability. You are analyzing so many different pieces of their business to help them make better intentional decisions.
And Liz, could you expand your screens? Because we see the background too. Like if you just maximize it.
Sure.
Yeah, hit that button. There you go. Yeah, that's better. Now I can see a little bit better.
There we go. All right.
Thanks.
So here, see, get it? Playbook? Get it, guys?
Love it. Love it.
Thanks. I love Canva. Thank you. So bottom line, these are a list of all the services, what it looks like, how we do it. So basically how we teach and share and advise our members to do to take on this specific service. And then what resources we have that exist in Profit First University that are used for this specific service. So just for example, we'll start with something very simple, goal setting. This is not something that just happens in January. This is something we do quarterly, annually, things like that. And it's setting high-level financial goals with your clients. We're using the target allocations that come from the profit assessment, that come from the breakdown of this entire profit engagement that people have. We're looking at key metrics as another one. Being able to help create custom dashboards and KPIs based on profit assessments, based on your profit and loss and balance sheet and other financial data that you have. These metrics are then allowing us to have better conversations looking forward, not just looking backward. So using cash flow reports, right? Once cash flow is stabilized, using Profit First, things are off to the races and you're able to create a better forward-looking plan. Again, using the profit assessment, quarterly review templates that we have.
Do you mind just scrolling back to this for
Yeah.
1 second? I just want to invite
Sure.
anyone watching in right now, take a screenshot of this, because Liz, one of the most common questions I hear is, I want to be a fractional CFO, or I've heard about it. I don't really understand what it consists of. And this is my favorite. This in the next slide, you'll see, is my favorite, because it details out that first column of all the things that are expected of you.
Yep.
And then a detailed explanation of what those components are. So I think just having this is a great tool.
Cool.
We are
Yep.
positioned to help you with it as you pursue fractional CFO, but this is the responsibility that you will have. Is that
Yep.
fair?
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. Because that's the thing. So many people will say, well, I've done a profit assessment. What else? The profit assessment is day one. That
Right.
is the clarity and the ability to say, I see where your money is going. Now, where do we want to go next? What do you really want to happen? The questions that we ask early on and that we talk through specifically when we're working on the sales process, for example. There's a document that we have called Value Starts with Hello. It was a lead magnet on our website for a long time, but it's something that we use with our members to teach them how to ensure you're not having a sales call, you're really having a discovery call. First questions are, what would you like to increase, decrease, and create in your business?
Mm.
Once you know those three things, you're able to move forward with your client, helping them to make better intentional decisions about where they want to go in their business, with their business. So
Yeah,
these are the
and
conversations. Yeah.
that third row, it says cash flow management forecast. I'm sorry to make you keep jumping back to that, but that
Oh,
one,
it's okay.
I think I want to underscore that if you are going to provide CFO services, forecasting, planning for the future is absolutely critical, but it cannot be done unless you correct the current pain. The vast majority of businesses, there are 32 million now small businesses in the US. A small business does $25 million in annual revenue or less. Just to give context, 83% are in a cash crunch, meaning if they don't have substantial sales immediately, they're going to struggle to pay payroll, rent, and the owner will always skip some themselves. So when they're in that current pain state, the mistake I think some folks do with traditional fractional CFOs is say, well, we're going to forecast in the future and you struggled in the past and we're going to figure out the future and you got to move here. What we do as a profit first professional is we have a way to instantly correct the current state. And without that pain relieved, you can't concentrate on the future. So that forecasting and management, like the circle of the management part, is absolutely critical. And you need to do that. I hope Profit First is the solution for it. That's your choice, of course, but the management is absolutely critical. Correct the current pain or alleviate it so they can focus on the future.
Yep.
I just wanted to add that part. I'll
Thank you.
stop
Yeah, I
stealing the
love it.
spotlight.
Yep, exactly right. And that's again the hope that you all get to give to your clients. It's not just, oh, what's done is done. It's all right, let's learn some lessons and let's move forward together. We're going to help manage this together. So good. Some of the other things on here are reporting and insights, improvement strategies, profit improvement strategies. Again, this is intentional behavior change, behavior leveraging, right? So what do you want to do? You've said you wanted to do X, Y, Z, you want to hire. All right, here's something that we can do. Let's create another account. Those of you who've read the book know the line, when in doubt, open an account. And that's what we do for owner, being able to hire a new hire account, a new a professional development account. Anybody who's had an enrollment call with Ron or me and it wasn't quite time, maybe it was too early in your business, that's one of the first pieces of advice that we give, is to open a professional development account. Be intentional with what you want. You can improve your profitability intentionally by declaring where you want it to go. Any thoughts on that, Mike, since you did write the book on this part?
Yeah, thank you. I actually was just answering a question online, but I'll say it aloud. Lena says, what's an ECROP? So that stands for Evaluation, Conversion, and Rollout Plan. It's a sequence that a business must go through. It must identify opportunities, convert those opportunities, and then deliver the services. That's what you have to do as a fractional CFO to your clients, but also something you guide your clients through. So we have a detailed ECROP, we call it, that we provide you.
Yeah, exactly. Again, this is, an internal document. So we do have our profit first jargon in here.
Yeah, we have exactly. We have our own phrases. Yeah.
So thank you for asking that, Len. I appreciate it. Some of the other things that you'll see in here is ideas about advice and capital funding. We don't do that with you, obviously, but You have, conversations that based on what you know about the profitability and the cash management, you're able to advise more strategically what makes sense for them. The other piece here is leadership and team support. I mean, we talk a lot about team with our members. We have resources, obviously, that live in here, but you're able to have those conversations with your clients as well about their team based on some of the resources that we have here. So using the profit assessment again, and whether it's a new hire account or tracking time or looking to increase or decrease the amount of money that's going to your team, those are big strategic CFO service type of questions and conversations. So as you can see, there's a lot in here, and this is something that we take very seriously. And this is where we spend the vast majority of their time with our members, specifically after they've finished the profit, the actual course training and certification sort of implementation phase of instruction. And we get to dive in, and we meet once a month at least with our members. We have office hours 4 to 5 times a week. We had to cancel today so I could be here. But being able to dive deep with you and personalize this framework. We're not customizing, we're not building anything new for you, but we are personalizing this to make it look, feel, and sound like you, and helping you to do everything from pricing this to advising to building up your team. So there are so many different things that we are able to provide within Profit First University, within this framework, within the structure of joining. The last thing I wanted to mention, Mike, and we know that this is so powerful because we just saw it at ProfitCon, is the community. And I wanted to share some things that we heard at ProfitCon this year. I do look at community as the reason people stay engaged with us for so long. Certification is great. It's really wonderful. It's it's a banner. It allows you to stand out. It allows you to differentiate yourself. It allows you to really create a structure and a service to increase profitability and serve your clients in the way that you want to. The members who are here, I like to say so lovingly, are not normal. You all are folks who love talking to your clients. You love being engaged with them. You are so passionate for their success, and sometimes to their detriment, because sometimes we push too hard and people don't want to do what we know they need to do, but that's a different conversation. But what I do know is that the community that lives here are similar in spirit. We make sure there are no jerks allowed, which means that there's not a scarcity mindset here. The sharing of ideas, the sharing of strategies, the sharing of resources is nonstop. We create plenty of opportunity within Profit First University for members to be able to share, whether it's through activity feeds and sort of Facebook-like chats, or resources or office hours. We learned at ProfitCon, when we were celebrating our 10th anniversary, we asked people who had been here from 10 years to this year to share some of their successes. And I just wanted to share some of these things. And I said this to the group there, that this is not unusual. What we're talking about are not the best of the best. They are everyone here. They're doing the work. They're talking the talk. They are walking the walk. They have served themselves. They've lived this. They are experiencing and running Profit First in their business, and they're reaping the benefits not only for themselves, but for them clients. So one of the members, and we just actually shared this on social media a couple of weeks ago, Wendy Hall joined Profit First Professional 7 years ago, and she'd been in business for quite a while. And when she joined, she was feeling pretty good. She read the book and she got all excited about it. And so she joined, and things happened really pretty quickly in her business when she started implementing it. What happened though, since she has joined, and I love when they share actual numbers, in addition to making a bigger impact for her clients, she has grown her revenue an astounding 1,366% since joining Profit First 7 years ago. She has purchased another firm. She has grown her team. It is astounding. John Briggs, who wrote Profit First for Micro Gems, when he started, he's been here for 9 years. He was making about $300,000.
The company was making 300,000.
The whole company.
To be true, yeah, exactly.
The whole company, his whole company with 5 employees was making $300,000. He is now making 8 digits in revenue, and what he shared. And he has 220 employees now. He's written multiple books. But what I loved is he shared in a staggering amount. He said, I have made $1.2 million in revenue just from Profit First services.
Yeah.
That is stunning to me. We have various other stories, and they're very similar to that, depending on how big people want to go. And so, the community here, they're sharing how they did that. They're sharing how they got there and where they're going. We have accountability groups and fortresses and mastermind things. And so it's a big deal. We take this very seriously, and we know that if you're here, you care about this stuff too. So that's those are my pieces, Mike.
I love it. So Liz, I was at an event yesterday where I was asked to speak, but there was also round tables. So there was 40 business owners there, and they set up round tables of 10 people per table. So there was 4 tables. Each one had a PFP. And the table I was sitting at, it was so interesting. It was Candy from Profit First Professionals.
Nice.
And one of the persons, and I'm just listening in, I was participating, but more of a listener as I was going table to table. One of the persons says, the challenge I'm facing is I'm considering buying a building. 2 or 3 people instantly say, oh, you do it. 2 or 3 other people are like, no, don't do it. One person, Candy, says, hold on, wait a minute. Let's evaluate this. And then they went, and I stepped to go to another group. But what was so interesting to me is many entrepreneurs don't have that resource available. It's the few entrepreneurs they know as friends. It's a few buddies, and they're ping-ponging questions to each other, and they're simply talking from a soul experience. Oh, I bought a building. It was great for me. Buy a building. Oh, I bought a building and it lost its value and it crushed my business. Don't buy a building. But a CFO goes through the full analysis. It could be good. It could be bad. There's a pro-con list. It could be appropriate. It may not be. We have to dig into the numbers. Does it serve you? So while other people speak from their personal experience and render opinion, a fractional CFO's job is to look at the data and say, what is the best opinion for you? Not this superfluous experience. Maybe collective, there's some knowledge there, but the analysis needs to be done. And that's what Candy did.
That's great.
The biggest missing component I see, Liz, for entrepreneurs is that counselor, that person that takes the deliberate time to do the analysis and to remove the entrepreneur from the emotional state. I call it backfilling logic. I took some notes down as you were talking that I want to review and share as a summary to our folks. But most entrepreneurs say, well, this is what I want to do. I want to have a new desk for my office. And they say, it's this expensive desk. If I have it, so there's an emotional decision. If I have it, I can impress people when they come visit me. I'll feel more comfortable at work. It'll produce more. And we backfill with all this logic of why we can justify the reason. So there's an emotional decision to purchase something or take an action. And then we backfill it with the logic that supports it. The job of the fractional CFO is to front load the logic and say, tell me your considerations, but let's put the data in here to determine if this really is the right output. Is to remove the emotion. Many CEOs, owners of businesses, are emotionally driven. Honestly, they wouldn't have started their business if they did the logic in the first place. They believe they can pull something off, but now they need to fill that with fractional CFOs. That's why this is the most in-demand service today. Entrepreneurs are seeking out people to fill that role, to be that counselor, because they can't find the person elsewhere. It's hard to find the integrator who can implement the crazy and amazing ideas that we executives have and also know all the numbers. And they can't afford to have an integrator and an in-house CFO. That's why fractional CFOs are taking off. And that's why we've seen such transformation with John Briggs and the other folks you shared in Profit First Professionals as they've moved to these counseling roles to look at the data. Here's a couple of things I took away, Liz, as you were talking. I just wanted to emphasize and maybe have a quick dialogue around this. First one was you talked about how many people implement Profit First incorrectly. They go all in. They see the numbers and they go all in, meaning they do the TAPS, which is a target, which is based upon analysis of all industry of what the fiscally elite do. And so people are reading that and say, well, I guess that's where my business should be. It's like saying, I haven't exercised before. I don't run ever, but I'm going to run a marathon today at an elite speed. No, that's what the champions do. We have to start by stretching, learning proper gait when running, building our durability and speed, and we'll get to the elite level, but it may take us months or years to get there. We have to have someone that throttles us. We need that coach. Otherwise, we can go too fast. And when we go too fast, there's a risk of injury and people abandon it.
Right.
Any thoughts on that, Liz? I got a couple other points, but that's what I
Sure.
heard from you. And want to
Yeah,
make sure
that's
you're okay at
exactly
home.
right. That's exactly right. And we, one of the things that we do see is people will get excited about the idea of when in doubt, open an account. And so they will also get very detailed, very, very quickly, and then start to abandon. And what we see when left to our own devices, ultimately, we just do whatever feels right or what we've always done. And so often people will start something and it's, use any new goal setting, and then they abandon it. So they create maybe 7 or 8 bank accounts because they're excited and they're declaring, and then they can't fund it because they've either done too much too fast, or they decided they didn't want it. So then they start stealing from themselves a little bit, right? So it's one of those things to have an outside advisor, to have a fractional CFO, a profit first professional, somebody to help you with this, allows people to say, and have people analyze and ask questions and say, is that really what you want? Is that really where you want, how you want to go there? Let's talk about timing. Let's talk about amounts. So yes. And I think, there's that lesson that we've learned too with first 5, next 5. So when you first wrote the book, we said, go real slow, open 1 bank account, put 1% in. And now we know that there is a balance here. And that's the other thing. People can go too slowly and they lose energy, they lose excitement, they lose motivation for it. So we are educating our members on, opening your first 5 bank accounts in 5 days. Let's get going. Starting where you are though, right? So getting the profit assessment and starting where you are. And so you can start to feel the momentum and have better.
Yeah, it's the 2 extremes. There's a stagnation. There's a start and stagnate. Like, oh, I got to get these accounts set up. I read the book and abandoned, or I got to go full throttle. In either case, you experience failure. It's this process of slowly and appropriately ramping it, and sometimes pushing them along faster than they comfortably would do on their own, because that is truly in best service to them. Chris Deems shared something with us as we're having the last conversation. He goes, as a CFO, you have to also determine what problem are we trying to solve.
Totally.
Everyone write that one down. Like an entrepreneur, guilty as charged, will say, I need that new desk. But what's the problem we're trying to solve? And until we have that answer, it could just be this emotional decision that's being made. And our job is to throttle that as a fractional CFO.
Yep.
I have some more things I want to highlight, but I also know that we're at the top of the hour. Now we have an hour allocated for this webinar. We're going to go quicker than that because I know you have other obligations, but I did want to share this link. This is the link to our organization. You can see in the very beginning, we were talking about my crazy, weird grin. Like, could they pick a worst picture of me? So if you're just curious of bad pictures of Mike, this is the one to go to. But what we want to do is we invite you to go to this page, have a consultation with Liz or Ron from our team. Let's explore what you're doing now and how you could transition to a fractional CFO state. And if we are potentially a component of that, we'd love to introduce that to you if we can serve you doing in that process, because that's what we do. So if you're interested in that, I invite you to go there. If nothing else, just to see the bizarre grin I got going on. Another thing, Liz, that you said, and I want all of us to write this one down or make a note of this, is some fractional CFOs have the propensity to give it all away, like to actually overserve perhaps a client, or to give too much too soon and overwhelm them. What was the context behind that?
Sure, it's actually both. What I see more often than not, and since, like you said, I do a lot of these enrollment calls, I will hear regularly from potential members who say, you know what, I already have these kinds of conversations. And I say, okay, so how do you charge for those? And they say, I don't. It's a part of the regular meeting. And I say, okay, so what did they hire you for? They hired me to do their taxes, or they hired me to do the bookkeeping, but advisory is not even a part of it. But what happens is a 30-minute meeting that's supposed to happen once a month or once a quarter, and you all know this is true, becomes a 1-hour meeting or a 90-minute meeting every time. And the conversations and the phone calls and the emails. And so what I see very often is that people are answering and solving problems that they weren't engaged to do. what that says though, to me is, I'll use a hair analogy because I'm very vain about my hair. It's like me going to get a haircut and asking for a free color at the same time. And if Lisa Marie, my stylist, if she did that, she would be out of business in 5 seconds. Well, I know you only paid for a haircut, but I'm going to give you the whole balayage and it'll be 3 hours. That's not fair to her. And I would take it more seriously. And I appreciate these conversations more when they are deliberate and intentional. So that's the other piece I see we're missing out because we're giving piecemeal ideas, observations, and solving smaller problems, as opposed to saying, let's create an entire roadmap for where you want your business to go. And we can deliberately and intentionally roll this out and solve these problems, to Christine's question of what are we ultimately trying to solve or achieve. And so instead of doing it piecemeal every time, answering emails at 10 o'clock at night, Saturday morning, putting out fires, you can do this more intentionally.
Tom Griffiths asked a question to the host and panelists saying, what can we charge effectively for this work as a fractional CFO? It's a little bit of a loaded question, so I'd like to give a little stab at this, and then Liz, get your thoughts on it too. But it's a powerful question. A fractional CFO, the title alone puts you in a different category. So think from the consumer's mindset. A consumer is hiring a bookkeeper, an accountant, and or a fractional CFO. What are the prices that you innately or inherently apply to that? Probably different price ranges. Now, the thing is, you have to have the ability to deliver at those different levels. All important functions, but are perceived differently. The more commoditized a service is, meaning the more it can be exchanged for an alternative, the lower the value. It's called DPP, or downward price pressure. So if the consumer says, well, bookkeepers are a dime a dozen, they're everywhere, the only way to be competitive over time is to reduce your price. If an accountant, anyone can do tax compliance, is going to start putting downward pressure. And this is not a judgment. Everyone may have their own opinion. You may know or not of this company, but a relatively new company came out called Tax Hive, sponsored by Kevin O'Leary. He's the guy from television, Mr. Wonderful. My perception is it is a commoditization of services. It's a brand represented by a perceived authority. I don't know if he's a tax specialist. I presume not. So they're using authority and then a decommoditization. There's another approach. And what that is unique brands, unique identifiers. So there's authority, meaning there's brand representation, but there's limited participation. So anyone can join Tax Hive. It's the goal, not anyone can join it. It's the goal to bring commoditization. But Profit First Professionals, as an example, leverages authority. It's the most recognized brand in cash management for small business globally. And what we do is we have a selective small membership, therefore inflating the value because it's only a few people with a unique set. My analogy would be, there's only a few people that do neurosurgery, but there's a lot more people that are general practitioners. So the idea is, can you put yourself in this position of being a specialist? Now, when it comes to the price, I'm not trying to dance around like what is the number that you should be charging. The thing is, we are not a franchise organization, so we don't dictate a price. We believe very much so in value-based pricing. What is the impact you're having and the price in correlation with that? So we will give you guidance and guardrails to help you determine the appropriate pricing that's representative of what you deliver, the value you deliver, but we don't specify it. So Liz, do you have anything else to add to that or any other perspectives?
Yeah, I have to say those are some of my favorite questions though, and watching people raise their prices and watching people command the price for what they provide, right? The value that we talk about is really where the pricing comes from. The actual value pricing program, we do have a course. It's both, there's a self-taught course and then a guided course. And we start with what you want to make. So to Mike's point, we could dance around it. There is a range, right? So we have people who are charging $1,000 a month to people who are charging $25,000 for a day trip. So everybody's different, and it's based on confidence and service and team and where you want to go and where you are now and who you want your clients to be and whether you're niche. I mean, there's a million ways to play this game, but it starts with what do you want How much do you want to support your lifestyle? When we're talking about this, as Mike said, the value pricing is a big deal. And we know that in the absence of value, price is everything. So if you're looking to have 1,000 tax returns, that's a way to play that game. You can do that. If you're really looking to niche and say, I only want to work with solopreneur law firms that are female owned, that's a different way to play it. And you are now going to be seen as an expert for that group, which means you have a different conversation, a different style, a different service, a different pricing. So it's part of the relationship that we have. We get to build that together.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And by specializing, for example, for those female lawyer groups that are target, you will build those expertise, and we'll give you guidance on how to build that so you can provide unique services that cannot be delivered by anyone else. And there is a part of that community that'll say, I want or need that, and I'm willing to pay a premium. And that's how any market works. So it is a choice. And you do start with what would be of service to yourself best. And I think that's what most fractional CFOs don't do, Liz. I think they go into the space saying, this is what I need to do, or there's an opportunity here, and they let the water guide them. They don't swim in a certain direction.
Yep.
And that becomes a problem. Some people even come to loathe their business. Maybe a few folks listening in can relate to this, saying, I actually don't like going to work anymore, or I have certain clients I don't enjoy working with. So let's start with what's of service to you, because when you put your oxygen mask on first, you care for you, you can care for the community that needs you, and you can fully show up. So it works in synchronicity. I do want to share one more time the link. And thanks for all the comments in the chat going on. A lot of people are texting me or chatting me directly. There is a link in the chat right now. This is a page that gives a little more description of what we're doing at Profit First Professionals to help individuals become fractional CFOs. You can have a free consultation with Liz and Ron. They will deep dive into understanding your business. If there's an opportunity for you to pursue membership, we will love to have that conversation. If there's not an opportunity, we'll tell you. And admittedly, we have people asking to become members. It's just not the right time, and we decline the opportunity. It has to be a win for you, has to be a win for our organization. So let's see if a fractional CFO opportunity is down the pike for you. And to do that, go to that link and we'll have a one-on-one conversation. All right, last thing I wanted to share before we wrap up for the day, you also shared something when you were presenting, Liz, about leveraging established brands and the power of that. Because I know you obviously coach around Profit First. I know you help our members leverage that brand, but you also see the before and after. You see when people come on, they haven't used Profit First yet, they haven't been connected with the brand, they're a sole island, and maybe that's a good thing. And then they come in. What is the best way to leverage a brand? How do you make it part of yourself and leverage awareness and other benefits as a result?
Sure, it's a great question. One of the things that we talk about is and we talked about this actually in the first enrollment call. How do you see this service living within your business? And what we know to be much more successful is when you already have, when members join us, they have an idea of how they want to serve their clients. They know that they are going to do this, this, and this, and then they're going to be able to offer and enhance this service by using this framework. And we find that those folks who have an established idea of what they want to serve, who they like to serve, they don't have to be niched. They maybe are niche curious, but they have an idea of where they want to go with this, and that Profit First is a part of what they do. And it is a wonderful, very easy implementable tool within their toolbox. We know that that is one of the fastest ways to get profitable with this brand, but also one of the easiest ways to start talking about it. People who just say, I'm Profit First, and put it on their website, that could be helpful for people who've read the book. As Mike said, they're 1.23 million sold, but there are a lot of other people out there who may have never heard about it. So it may not be that thing that's the home run. So hanging everything on this specific brand is not the way that we advise. It's a wonderful tool, leveraging it by saying, I am a certified Profit First, but let me actually Profit First professional, but let me tell you what that really means. What really gets me out of bed every morning is that I get to help you take the money home that you want. I get to help you build the business that you've always dreamed of. I have the framework and the resources and the community to help me build this with you, right? So leveraging what the reason that you joined this group in the first place, leveraging the idea of, we have something called a marketing playbook. We have so many resources, from campaigns to badges to lead magnets to book campaigns that you're able to use. Like we said, people know this book, people know Mike, and people are drawn to both Mike and the book. And that's very helpful for you. You have the opportunity, if Mike is touring, for example, to go say, hey, can I join you at this conference? And then Mike can shout you out from the stage, right? Which is super fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's you sort of feel like a big deal. Which is really fun. But right, so you were able to leverage this brand. But Mike said something earlier, this is a small community. There are only hundreds of us globally, not millions, not tens of thousands. And so being able to stand up and say, I have dedicated this part of my business, or my business, to increasing profitability for small business owners, and this is how I've shown you how I do this, that's a big deal. And so being able to put a badge, and we recertify you every year. You're constantly learning, you're constantly developing. We're sharing resources and building new resources for you. So your learning is continuous and ongoing. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, Liz, I can't think of a better way to put a pin in it. I think that was fantastic closure to these ideas. Thanks for the notes. I hope everyone listening in took tons of notes. I did promise you that we'd wrap up a little bit short to accommodate and recover some extra time for you, because I know you scheduled the hour. I shared the link. If you have any other questions, we'd love to have the conversation with you on the phone. So go to that link. We'd love to give you guidance on how you can become a fractional CFO yourself. And perhaps there's a partnership opportunity here. Liz, thanks for your time today. Everyone, thanks for joining in. Have a nice rest of the week, and we'll talk to you, we hope, real soon.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.